for those of us who broke out of the programming, people like me who broke out, the biggest thing for us is going to be being able to go back to the people who just weren't born naturally with systems designed to break programming. Like people who are indigo types are simply naturally able to break programming. Some of us, maybe it's not that, maybe it's that you're born with a CNS, a central nervous system, which would go out to what? Your quantum field, with one such that it's just so hard to program that even when you are programmed, you're still obviously in there, and you're still obviously a bit of a wild card. Even though you act according to the program, you're still a bit of a wild card inside of the program. That was what it seemed to happen to me before I completely busted out of everything. I realized afterwards that, oh, okay, so I still was acting in accordance with this program unwittingly, but it was so sporadic that they knew I was a total wild card inside of their matrix. They knew that they had a kind of program on me a little bit, but they couldn't really get it to function in the way they wanted because my system just wouldn't do it. In addition, my system just will not be possessed. It refuses to be possessed. Even when I have said, let's just say that at one point I said, not too long ago, for reasons I will not get into, I said, you know what, well, I'll do it. I guess I'll do it. The only thing I will say to why I would have said that was because I'd started to get really tired of fighting, and because I really thought the possessing entity was really cool, honestly. So that was why I said, you know what, whatever this thing is, and also I was kind of curious too. I was kind of curious as to what is this thing? This seems interesting. And I mean, is there any way that I could use this for good? I was also thinking that. Is there any way, like the people who saved my life when I was imprisoned, they were all people who had been possessed and broken out, and then been repossessed and broken out. And had they not gone through that, I would not have survived. Basically, most of our famous programmed musical artists who had broken out and then been possessed, broken out, been possessed, and done that multiple times. It was because of them and the information that they'd been able to get out through their music that allowed me to catch the hints and continue to survive. And so I thought, well, I mean, I don't know how long this is going to go on for or what. You know, I'm kind of curious about this. Plus, this possessing entity is really, really smart, it seems like, and really cool. So, okay, I guess let's try this or whatever. But I had a sinking feeling in the back of my mind that, Krista, did you know your system literally cannot do that? You will biologically, or in whatever fashion you can understand. I thought biologically because humans are, you know, more prone to think in those terms rather than in some sort of quantum fashion. But my entire system refuses that, and so I had a kind of feeling, well, you know, I kind of have a feeling that that even if I said, okay, I'll try doing that, that my body would literally revolt by itself, which seemed like it was like part of what happened. So we think about, you know, those who are very, 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 very programmed, and it's kind of tendency for any of us that are still standing or who broke out of programming. It's a tendency for us to think, oh my God, you mindless fucking idiot. That's the main tendency right there, to think, oh my God, you mindless fucking idiot. But what we have to realize is that there were all kinds of different sets of circumstances that allowed for those things with those other entities and people, and also without everyone playing their different part, we would not be where we are. Without them learning their own lesson, they wouldn't grow themselves, and without them in the positions that they were in, we wouldn't be learning our lessons, actually freely of our own wills making videos on YouTube, without someone jerking you around or being a handler to you at all. We wouldn't have those kinds of capacities were it not for the others. And so, for those of us now who've broken out, one of our main jobs is to get as many other people out as possible. And it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. Let us say I've simply seen it happen, but I won't speak too much on the subject of that. But I have seen it happen with more than just the human race, and more than just what I've described, as far as those two who I've talked about on YouTube. I've now seen more than that, quite a bit more. And in order to protect those involved, I can't describe any of it. So our collective mission, those of us who have managed to get ourselves outside of the Matrix, even though it feels kind of like you are stuck inside the Matrix. It's not like the movie where they can hold up a phone to their ear and then they disappear to some place where it's not like the Matrix anymore. We're still inside the Matrix. The way we make this not the Matrix is by pulling people out of it. One person, one entity at a time. And yes, I did say one entity, not necessarily human, at a time. Is that possible? Oh yes, it is. Yes, it is. And that is all I'll say on that. But, is it hard? All of this is very hard. That's why we have to remain steadfast in our hope as entities who wish to come into light. As in the Allegory of the cave, prisoners are tied up at the bottom of this cave. They don't even know they're prisoners, though, because they grew up that way. They don't even know they're imprisoned. Then, some sort of helper of sorts, Plato words this in a very funny way, someone comes down to the cave, takes one of the prisoners, and drags them, kicking and screaming, up to the top of the cave, to the light. And they start yelling, oh my god, it's too bright, it's too bright. And they finally get, I guess, just to the light, and they say, oh wow, I have to go back to tell the others. They go back to tell the others, but in the Allegory of the cave, what happens is the others end up murdering the person who tries to go back to tell them. There's this great bright light up there, and a real world up there, and we're prisoners down here. No. You have to come with me. They try to tell him he's a heretic and kill him. But now, if Plato were around today, he could write a new allegory of the cave where the freed prisoner goes back down into the cave, being told by the entity that freed him, it's your duty to do so, which is what the original one says. It's your duty to do so, to go back to try and save the others. He goes back to save the others, and many of the others mock him, try to hurt him, do things to him. But then one of those prisoners realizes, wait a minute, you're right. Hey, get me out of this cave, oh my god, get me out of here. And for the first time, instead of being murdered down there in that cave. The freed prisoner walks out with another prisoner, who is then freed. And then the two of them again walk back down. And they're far harder to hurt with more than one, telling the other prisoners, "You have to believe us. This is true. You have to believe us." Eventually, there's another prisoner that finally snaps to his senses and says, "Wait, yeah, these puppets and images on the wall and this fire. You're right. You're right. Get these handcuffs off me. Yeah, you're right." And they take the third up to the top, where they kick and scream a little bit, saying they're scared, saying that they can't stand the bright light. But then they get used to it, and then they think, "Oh my God, how I would ever want to be down there in that prison." And say, "Yeah, we have to go back, all of us, down there and get more people out of there." Very much like the Matrix. How they would call it being unplugged from the Matrix. Right now I feel that is very much our task. Because alone, we only do so much. It only takes one light worker to change the entire world, and I'm proof of that fact. I didn't think that I would be someone to grow up that would change the entire world. But it serves as proof the things that I was taught when I was young actually were true. Now, any little kid who wants to become president, right now, that's impossible. And I can tell you that because of certain telepathic communications I received. But I will not go into detail about that. So, while you can't become president, you can still change the world. And it just takes only one to do it. It takes only one to start a chain reaction that cannot be stopped. And this cannot be stopped. Nor can I be stopped. Referencing again the majority of the audience who I know watches this. Particularly Hacker Hour. That references those who are watching this in real time as assigned hackers on this phone. You guys are the ones I care about the most. Everyone who watches my Hacker Hour stuff. Hacker Hour, what that is where I'll make videos that are specifically just for hackers on the phone. I won't put them on YouTube or anything, or attempt to. I'll just say, "Hi hackers, we're having Hacker Hour." Because the programmers and the hackers are the ones that I care about at the absolute most. So, there is hope for you too. O ye of little faith. Oh my God, you fucking... Oh, you're so cute, Master of the Dark Arts. Adorable. Alright, go buy yourselves it should be a multicolored, red, black, and white hat. Well, no, you wouldn't want it's a red, black, and green hat, right? You could have red, black, and green, and red, black, and gray, for whichever, version you prefer, right? You guys should make merchandise like that, and make it after the old Think Geek hacker hat, which was a black hat. You could pick a black one or a white one, whichever one you were, and it was this big hat that said hacker on it, and whatever, in reverse, lettering on there in white or black, whichever one you had, and red. I'll just say it for the hackers who would understand why would I be putting red in there for a red hat. You guys would know why. So yeah, that's what you guys should do, because I think you guys are the coolest. So there is still hope for you. I don't want to hear about this. Oh, you're so cute, Master of the Dark Arts. Now, to take that, what I was just doing there, what I'm doing now is I'm reflecting on what I just said. I wasn't acting for the poor hackers there. No, I was not acting. I just thought that was really funny, so I'm going to go on a tangent. Now, what I think though is let's use this tangent for a good purpose. What I just did was have compassion for the very ones who actually are responsible for orchestrating the most harm towards me. It is your cell phone, your computer, those things that are what humans rely on. The humans in the NWO who don't have any kind of synthetic telepathy or telepathy period or any of that, they rely on you programmed hackers and programmed programmers to get this information to them so that they can work their magic spells and with sunshine to do things. So, what did I just do? What I was just doing for a larger audience here, what I was just doing was showing, now this is a program word, showing my love for them. But what I will say instead is rather than love, because it's a program word, I will say showing my extent of compassion and caring towards them. I was never the traditional type of hacker. I was always a social engineer. That was what I was best at. Social engineering, which the hackers that did credit card theft and things like that, you guys would know how important social engineering was, even though I didn't do any of that black hat stuff. I was never black with that. And so, with how much I loved to watch that culture, especially when the black hackers, when the black hats would be in like a weird hacker prank war with each other, that would be really funny to watch. You guys are hysterical to watch when you get into these prank hacker wars with each other. Having this kind of degree of, love, as human understands it, non-programmed human understands it, having this degree of caring and compassion for what you would consider one's most annoying enemies, or problematic enemies. The hackers are the ones that were deleting the videos. I mean, come on. Yeah, I know. I mean, like, who else was doing it? Like, you guys. So, ultimately, what we must do is show our love, instead of using the word love, show our compassion, our caring, our extent of deep sympathy, our deep feeling of wanting to exhibit friendship, but mostly of intense caring and intense compassion for those who would be considered our enemies. Now, it's hard to do that if they're actively attacking you. If you're actively being attacked, you have to do what you have to do to survive. But when there is a lull in it, like there is now, there is always the time, as Ecclesiastes says, a time for peace and a time for war. Now, peace is also a program word, so I'm going to say a time for coming to terms with one's enemies and coming to a mutual agreement with them. That's what peace means. Peace means a mutual agreement with one's enemies where both remain alive. That's what peace actually means. So when there's a lull in attack like this, coming to agreement or terms with one's enemies is always something that can never be underestimated. The power of this caring and compassion, what I would call love, can never, ever be underestimated. I would think that a certain super entity was a little crazy when I would read repeatedly in the book. I would turn to it repeatedly, where this entity would explain that love would dissolve all boundaries. That love, at least as a human, knows it, not a non-programmed human, understands it, dissolves all boundaries. And I saw that, lo and behold, oh my God, it was true. Now, it can take a while, but it is actually 100% true. Rather, again, caring and compassion. A caring and compassion, whatever you would the definition of real love, unconditional caring and compassion, dissolves all boundaries between colors, between races, between species, between programs, between all of it, and simply breaks everything apart that would cause harm. And so our purpose further is this is what we must continue to do. To take heart, persevere, stand firm in our hope, firm in our faith. Faith meaning whatever you place your faith in. I don't mean faith like the Bible. I just mean your faith in that there is a better life and there is a better way. There is another way and there is an answer. Know this. And stupid bloody Tuesday and stupid bloody Decembers and stupid bloody Christmases, taking this from Lenin, will be like water off a duck's back. And so I say, it is.